Many years ago in Ikere Kingdom, Ebun was born to her parents after 20 years of marriage. 9 older children were born earlier as stillbirths. Every new time of delivery therefore became a time of high anxiety for the mother. Villagers were mocking the couple because they had advised Ebun's father to marry more wives, but he bluntly refused. This infant mortality kept happening and the villagers kept talking. Life was becoming miserable for Ebun's mother and father. One late evening, a stranger was passing through Ikere and needed a place to sleep since it was already dark. This couple took in the stranger. Early morning, he quickly got ready to depart. As the couple bade him farewell, he paused and told them that a special child was coming to them in 9 months. They anxiously asked if the child would live on after delivery. He said yes. The midwives had become tired of the stillbirths. Also, some mean villagers mocked this 10th pregnancy. She was feeling some contractions and Ebun's mom sent for one of the local midwives. By 7 p.m., Ebun was born alive. They waited and waited. She lived on. Growing up was normal. The villagers were happy and relieved this one survived. However, some people were not excited. They were not happy. This group is made up of the representatives of the gods of the land. They saw each stillbirth as a sacrifice to keep the land fruitful, since an innocent blood was needed. At 12, every child in Ikere Kingdom is supposed to dance before the gods. This was a yearly ritual and is meant for the longevity and progress of all participants. Parents looked forward to it. But one question kept ringing through. Would Ebun participate? The custodians of the oracles of the land had been excluding Ebun and her parents in many communal activities, saying that they were an evil omen to the land. At other times, they said Ebun and family were Osu. This means that they were dedicated to the gods of the land. And that's why the gods had been taking baby after baby as sacrifice. However, some villagers loved Ebun because she was one peaceful and loving girl whose kindness touched the hearts of many in that village. On the day of this dance with the gods, you would expect that since Ebun supposedly belongs to the gods, she should lead the dance. But no, the priests and priestesses held a meeting one midnight on an Eke day. This particular Eke day was special because it is the last Eke before the dance. And the entire kingdom over centuries had always respected that night. Women must shut down everything and go to bed as early as 7 p.m. Men must be in bed early too, just a little later than women by 9 p.m. While the owls were hooting, the village was dead asleep. No one moved around. Because at a certain time of that night, the gods are supposed to move around to take account of the people of Ikere Kingdom. Nobody is supposed to be heard talking, except, well, the priests and priestesses. They came together at the kingdom shrine headquarters Yes, headquarters, because there were other small shrines in different parts of the kingdom. Some had their personal shrines. So that again midnight, the priests and priestesses congregated at the big shrine headquarters where heavy decisions concerning the kingdom and the people were taken. Issues were settled there. If there's a land dispute between men, and if for some reason they couldn't settle it before this Eke day, it is also brought up there. The next day, called Ori, was a day of laughter and also weeping for different people depending on what news the priests and priestesses brought back. Ebun and her parents were also waiting for daybreak. The Okwekwe, the announcer, who is also a priest, would carry a gong round the village to declare the minds of the gods on issues. He made 3 announcements, and the 4th was Ebun. She must not participate in the dance because she is an Osu. Initially, Ebun felt disappointed. Then she felt crushed. She thought to herself, if I did something wrong, like the 3 boys who were barred because they stole someone's yams from the farm, I would be happy that I am receiving punishment for my errors. But here, I am told I cannot participate because I am an Osu. But I didn't commit any crime. I am innocent. What is Osu? Then she said, Papa, I don't understand this. Can't you challenge them? Is it that whatever they come up with, we are just to accept? Initially, Papa was speechless. After a few minutes, he now said, Ebun, your mother and I are as surprised as you are. There doesn't seem to be anything we could do to alter their decision. Nothing I know of. Ebun shook her head and went away to her room. Time for the dance came, and Ebun stayed indoors with her parents. This dance is done during the dry season. However, 12 noon of the particular Uri dance day, there were thunders and lightning. It had never happened, and so nobody was prepared for it. In a few minutes, heavy rain started, and a heavy branch broke off a large oak tree that had been there for centuries. 14 casualties, 3 priests and 11 children were hit by the branch. They were dead by the time the branch was rolled off. 10 other children were injured. The next day, the king summoned the entire Ikere kingdom to a meeting. After holding meetings with priests and priestesses, the main thing was to inform the kingdom that the havoc was because they were harboring people who are Usu in their midst. They all need to therefore send Ebun and her parents away, banish them to a faraway strange place. Ebun's many friends were crying without saying anything. Many men and women who knew Ebun as the nicest, kindest person in that kingdom had a lot to say in her defense, but feared the curses of both the priests and the gods. One man, yes, an ordinary man who is a skilled hunter, not a priest, not a member of the king's cabinet, asked the king for permission to speak up. There was this frightening silence all over the place, ominous. You could hear a pin drop. Would the man be killed for speaking up? Would he be beaten? Would his possessions be confiscated? Hush! He kept standing, waiting for the permission to speak. Tens of seconds of silence. Minutes. Then the number 1 high chief of the king's cabinet spoke up. Who is this? Who are you? And what is it? Are you trying to challenge the king and the decision of the gods? The man kept standing. And when they couldn't intimidate him, the king raised his sword to signal he should go on to speak up. The hunter then said, "O king, live forever. May your reign surpass that of your fathers in every good thing. May the glory of Ikere Kingdom increase daily under your reign. For every generation, there are unanswered questions. We may all be too hasty in passing wrong judgment over what we know little about. We should reconsider what we do to voiceless innocent people today for posterity's sake. Our children will come after us, and what we lay as foundation today may be what would destroy them or help them carry the mark of greatness we hear concerning other great kingdoms. King, live forever." The king's response? A pause, long enough to ensure the man had finished. Then the king roared. By midnight, Ebun and her parents would be escorted out of this kingdom by Ndiche. Case closed. By morning the next day, Ebun and her parents were inside a thick forest without pathways, abandoned without food by the Ndiche. But the man that spoke up for them, the hunter, carried food and followed them without the knowledge of the Ndiche. He had food and water. Being a hunter, he knew his way around the forest and beyond. The moment the Ndiche left, he appeared with food and water. They were surprised and very grateful. After eating, he told them he would lead them to a kingdom where they would find and enjoy peace. They took off again after resting, and the man led them to a kingdom called Oko. A kingdom with a difference, where 90% of pregnant women gave birth to twins or triplets, and where people are accepting of even strangers and treated them with respect. In a few days, they settled down and even had land allocated to them for farming. Years rolled by, and Ebun became a very beautiful young lady, loved and celebrated by many. Oko Kingdom had a new young king. The old king died 5 years earlier at 121 years. The new king was looking for a wife. They had tried and suggested and done everything. No girl seemed to fit in to the satisfaction of the young, handsome king. Ebun was just loved by this community. Her heart-touching kindness became the light that went ahead of her. Many heard about her before they even met her, and no one discussed or talked about her being an Osu. And talk about beauty, Ebun just had it. Beautiful inside and beautiful outside. Word reached the king that there is an exceptional girl in his kingdom that came with her parents from another kingdom who is exceptionally kind. They told how she helps old women and men and children. They told how she shares food to those who lacked. And the king sent for Ebun. Her parents were happy but a bit afraid of this summon. Remembering what it was like meeting the king of Ikere and where it landed them, Ebun went into the palace and the king requested some privacy. The king found himself talking about everything about himself to Ebun. Ebun would smile and ask yet another question. King Kola kept talking. For 3 days, no sleep? Yes, no sleep. They just kept supplying light foods and drinks. On the 4th day, the king sent one of his armor bearers to go invite his cabinet members. The king said, "Of a truth, my people, you all know how I have been looking for someone to occupy the seat on the left side of my throne. You have all helped. But I am happy to announce that the search is over. I found a friend, and little did I know I could be talking non-stop with a woman for 3 straight days and nights. The Ebun we all have heard about fits in perfectly. That's who I have been looking for. Yes, many other women came praising my kingdom and the powers of the kingdom. They were overwhelmed by the splendor of the palace. Ebun hardly noticed anything outside me. Ebun didn't even ask for this gift or that gift that other women were asking for. She just wanted to hear me talk about me, my good, my bad, and my ugly. Ebun is so different that I would want us to invite her father immediately. The processes for our wedding have to start today." Heavy applause went on, and word spread round his kingdom that Ebun is the new queen. Invitation should be sent out to all kings at peace with Oko Kingdom, and that includes the king of Ikere. What have you learned from this story? What do you really think about this story? What advice do you have for the likes of Ebun and her parents, the king and priest of Ikere Kingdom? Do you have some advice for a young man who is looking for a wife, or a young woman who is looking for a husband? What is the morale of the story? Learn to speak up boldly for others. Learn to be the voice of the voiceless. Don't give up, no matter the situation. Help would always come. Please leave your comments below. Remember to click the like button if you enjoyed the story. Also click both the subscribe button and the bell to ensure you get to know when we upload another very interesting story. See you then. Goodbye.